Hey, Mike Hankins, it's been a long time. Thanks for making me look silly. I was really glad you made a new video, and I really liked what you had to say about the Russian language. I actually just talked about that in another video. This way. There we go. I wanted to go ahead and catch up a little bit and tell you a few things. So I thought I'd make a few videos. I made a video a while back about Star Wars continuity, the expanded universe, canon, and I liked some of the things I had to say, but my editing software failed me and I never quite got it. So I thought I'd talk about that today. Welcome to another Star Wars conversation. So, Disney and LucasArts, Lucasfilm, or whoever's controlling the marionettes now, released a statement a few months ago whenever I was making that video that what used to be Star Wars canon is now gone, and they're starting fresh. The only things that are considered canon are the movies and the Clone Wars TV show. Nerd alert, we are literally talking about canonicity of Star Wars, so be aware. For those of you that don't know, that means what things actually happened in Star Wars and what things are just kind of made up in Star Wars. Yeah, yeah, it's that nerdy. So when you look at the Star Wars canon, part of the deal is that people want to know what really happened. What's the story past the story? Everyone who loves Star Wars loves the movies and knows the movies, but they want to know the stories in between the movies. Did you know there's like 6 months between Empire Strikes Back and Jedi, but several years between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back? What was going on during that time? So over the last 30 years, there have been books and movies and magazines released under the guise of this is the official story. And several times they have released a new set of stories and games and comics and whatever that kind of erased some of the old stuff, and they said, well, this is the real canon now. Look famously to the Clone Wars series replacing the Micro series, replacing all the books. That said, it's a fascinating phenomenon that we get really concerned about what really happened in Star Wars, because it's obviously a fictional universe, and we have a good example of how continuity isn't necessarily necessary, how continuity isn't necessary for a good fiction. If you look at Batman, several forms of Batman, several uh, continuities, several interpretations, but all great Batman stories, all striking at different important parts of the character, all having different values and tales to tell, but striking at the core of who is Batman, what does that mean, what do we learn from that? Anyways, when dealing with Star Wars canon, it gets a little confused because part of that story is making all that intricate world fit together. So when they change canon, people get upset. But this is my takeaway from this. We shouldn't hold too tightly to the ideas that we've constructed about the things that we love. I'm not going to go on a rant about biblical interpretation or looking at the law as the Constitution as a living document versus a word for word literal thing, whatever. That's a whole nother different kind of podcast. But I think there's value in considering the idea that we need to get to the core of what these things are that are important to us. The stories that we tell our kids, the ideas that we hold to, the movies we love to watch, what are the parts of that that really matter, really mean something to us? What are the parts of that that are extraneous, and what parts have we made stuff up? What parts have we created for no purpose but our own edification? With Star Wars, there's a lot of great stuff that's not part of continuity now, but it's still there. And it's may not be there in the new movies, which kind of makes me sad, but at the same time I can go back and read it whenever I want. I can still draw all the experience and lessons and fun that I want out of those stories. And the important thing is not that they make new movies that are bound up in that continuity. They make worthwhile content. If they put out a great movie, no one's going to fuss about this anymore. And in the same way, when my son's watching a Batman show, whether it holds to the exact way that they displayed and portrayed Batman in 1989 doesn't matter. They just need to tell a good Batman story. Thanks, Mike. I'll catch you again soon.